Ramsbottom is the one to inform Gru and Lucy that Maxime Le Mal and his girlfriend Valentina have escaped from prison and are hunting them down. He can't just focus on game night and almond milk and playing in the backyard. Instead, there is a new villain after him. Now, Silas was the director of the Anti-Villain League. He was in charge when Gru was recruited to become an agent. But what's interesting is that Silas Ramsbottom retired in Despicable Me 3. He was replaced by Valerie Da Vinci.
Blah, 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 we understand. You're old, you're fat, you're done. No.
Let me breathe.
The woman who fired Gru and Lucy.
You're fired!
After failing to defeat Balthazar Bratt over and over and over again, they were let go, and it was only once they captured him definitively that they got their jobs back. So I wonder why Ramsbottom is the person who's in charge with getting Gru and his entire family to safety. Of course, there's the possibility that he got his director role back, but I also think it's possible that he might just be helping out, or maybe he just wants to get back in the game and maybe he's just a casual intern for the Anti-Villain League. Who knows? But regardless, we don't really know why he's out there to search for revenge, but we just know that he's going to try to enact it. Of course, Gru must have stopped a lot of villains at this point. He's been involved with the AVL for a long time now, but I do think it would be interesting to know that Le Mal was involved with Gru in some very personal way, and I think there's a way to make that work if this new villain was related to Gru's childhood mentor. Now, at first, when I saw the new villain's long nose, of course I thought that he could potentially be related to Gru. Who knows, he could be a distant cousin to Gru and be a part of his evil family line, but I feel like we've already seen that with Drew. I just don't think that would be a very satisfying reveal. Whereas if he was related to someone like Dr. Nefario, that could be a lot more interesting. I mean, the last time we saw Dr. Nefario, he was frozen in carbonite, so it seems like if they were going to bring him back in a big way, it would be cool to show a descendant of his family. But Maxime Le Mal doesn't really have many other similar features to Nefario, even in Nefario's younger days. But when I was looking for younger versions of Nefario and combing through the rise of Gru, that was when I realized that if Maxime Le Mal was going to be related to anyone, he has the most similarities to Wild Knuckles. I mean, they both have the long nose, the pointy chin, the big ears. The physical similarities are uncanny. And I mean, we never actually learned what Wild Knuckles' real name is. Maybe his true given birth name was Le Mal. I think there's some flexibility with the timeline and the identity of Wild Knuckles that could be really interesting to see played out. And I think it would be really interesting to connect Despicable Me 4 to the prequel spin-off series that is The Minions and the Rise of Gru. The story possibilities, I think, could be extremely compelling as well. Now, personally, what I think would be the most interesting story to tell would be to show what Wild Knuckles' descendants thought of Gru becoming good. Maybe through Le Mal, we'll get to see what a son or grandson of Wild Knuckles would think of Gru turning against Wild Knuckles' teachings. I mean, Wild Knuckles had founded the Vicious Six, was a dominant supervillain, and was still operating at high levels even in his older age. I mean, he completely faked his own death and he showed Gru the path to become a supervillain, which inevitably allowed him to steal the moon. I think it would be devastating for Wild Knuckles' family to see his greatest protege turn good.